So, what really happens when we die? I mean, it's the big one, right? Probably humanity's biggest question. Today, we're digging into a Christian perspective on the afterlife, and it hinges on this really powerful and honestly kind of surprising idea that the ultimate goal isn't to escape our bodies, but to have them redeemed.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Just for a second, what's the very first image that pops into your head when you think about the afterlife? For a lot of us, it's probably something kind of like this. Yeah, that classic picture, right? The idea of our spirit, our soul, finally breaking free from its physical, temporary prison. It's a really powerful and super common picture of what salvation looks like. But our source today, it's going to push back on that. Big time. What if the whole point isn't about ditching our bodies, but about redeeming them? What if the goal isn't to get out of creation, but to see it, and us, completely made new? That's the huge idea we're going to unpack. Okay, so let's dive into this. To really get what our source is saying, we've got to do a little detective work first. We need to figure out where that popular idea of the soul escaping the body actually came from. And believe me, its roots go way, way back. So this is what's called the Platonist view. You can probably guess who it's named after, the philosopher Plato. And in his way of thinking, our physical bodies are basically a cage, a prison. The real you, your soul, existed before and it's gonna exist after. So in this view, death isn't a tragedy at all. Nope, it's the great escape.
And once you see it, you start seeing this philosophy pop up everywhere. Ideas like reincarnation or your spirit dissolving and merging back into some great cosmic ocean. All of that stuff really comes from this one core idea. The soul is the good part, and the body is just something you have to get over.
But now, check out this completely different take from our source. The idea here is that the whole person, your soul and your body together, was created and called good. Immortality isn't just something we have automatically. It's a gift given to the entire person. And this is the absolute kicker. The central event of Christianity, the incarnation, is like the ultimate stamp of approval on the physical world. God didn't send down some disembodied idea. He became flesh. So from this point of view, the physical world isn't something to escape from, it's something to be saved. Okay, so you can see how this is building, right? A totally different view of the body leads to, you guessed it, a totally different view of death. So is it a gentle release, or is it something else entirely? Our culture tries so hard to soften the blow of death. We use these gentle phrases, like passing on, or it's just the circle of life. And it's funny, the source actually points out that the phrase pass on was really popularized by Mary Baker Eddy, the founder of Christian Science, to try and frame death as just an illusion. But the biblical view that our source lays out, man, it is a world away from that. Death isn't a friend. It's not even natural. It's called the last enemy, something hostile, something that has to be completely destroyed. Just let that sink in for a second. Death is seen as this horrible, unnatural intruder. It's a tearing apart of body and soul. The source makes this incredible point that when Jesus stood at his friend's tomb, he didn't see some kind deliverer. No, he wept. He was filled with grief and even anger at what death does. So the hope here isn't in pretending death is actually a good thing. Not at all. The hope is in the belief that God's life and love are just so much more powerful than death's sting. It's about a victory over the enemy. Okay, so if death is an enemy and our souls don't just, float off into the ether, what in the world happens right after we die? This brings us to what the source calls the intermediate state. And this is such a key distinction. Going to heaven when you die, that's described as amazing news for sure. But it's the layover, not the final destination. Think of it like a really, really joyful waiting room for the main event. Now, this is super interesting. The source is really specific about what this in-between state is not. It's not soul sleep. You're not just unconscious until the end of time. It's not purgatory, where you're being punished or purified. And it's not some kind of cosmic do-over, a second chance to be saved. So what is it? Well, it's described as an immediate, conscious state of pure joy. The moment a believer dies, they are present with the Lord. You're with all the spirits of the righteous made perfect, totally aware, totally in fellowship, all while you're waiting for that final, ultimate hope. And that right there brings us to the grand finale, the big reveal, the central claim that might just be the most surprising part of this whole thing. the ultimate destination. It's not about leaving your body behind for good. I mean, just think about the specific words from one of the oldest Christian creeds. The hope isn't just the immortality of the soul or going to heaven when I die. No, it is very specifically, very pointedly, the resurrection of the body.
And this analogy from the source just nails it. Think about a seed you plant in the ground. It grows into a plant, or maybe a huge tree. They look completely different, right? But there's a direct connection. It's the same substance, the same organism, just transformed into something way more glorious.
This quote just hammers it home. The Apostle Paul wasn't longing to be stripped of his body or unclothed. He wanted to be further clothed with a new, glorified body. It's about an upgrade, a transformation, not getting rid of the original.
So, let's put it all together. The ultimate hope we're talking about here is a physical one. It's about the redemption of our physical bodies, transformed to be like Christ's, living in a totally renewed physical creation. It's not an escape from creation, but the complete restoration of it. And that leaves us with this one last really powerful question to chew on. If our bodies aren't just prisons to escape from, but are actually promises of a future glory to be redeemed, how does that change how we think about our lives, our work, and this world, right here, right now?